Hello and welcome to another talk here. This is going to be a podcast edition of the My One and Only Love Drop 2 and Drop 3 Voicings. This is part 3 in the series. And this is a practice ideas and concepts video on the YouTube member area. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, be sure to check that out. I have a link to the website, preference.com, in the description below. And you can learn more about that YouTube member area there. All right, so let's get started here. So we're going to look at and listen to some voicings here. And what we've done so far is taken a look at the A section. We're going to continue looking at the A section of My One and Only Love. And we had these tones here. Let's say we have a C major 7, C major 9, like C major 9 here. So let's say we have these tones on the middle 2 strings here. And so we had the first inversion of the drop 2. We had the second inversion of drop 3. So when we have these situated here on the middle 2 string, 3 and strings, 3 and major 7, what if we swap strings for each of those 2 tones? So instead of 3, 7, we'll have 7, 3, from low to high, 7, 3 now. Okay. So that gives us a whole other series of chords to work with. So now rather than starting on the third inversion of C major 7, or first inversion of C major 7, we're going to start on the third inversion of C major 7. And in this talk, we'll go through the drop 2 voicings. Okay. All right, so we're going to go chord by chord. Kind of the idea is to think about a string as a voice, and think about how a note changes from one string to the next. So basically are having 4 voices. In this video, top 4 strings each have their own kind of individual voice, and that's how we come up with this voicing. Okay, so there we have it. C major 7 in third inversion. Now, before I go on too much, this is really going to be very helpful because it gives us a core idea of what we're dealing with as far as sound. So then we can, if you're watching this in the on the video, top 2 notes are in gray, low 2 notes are in blue for these voicings. So we could take these gray notes and changes to them, maybe place the root with a 9, place the 5 with a sharp 11, let's say, or place the 5 with a 6. So it gives us an idea. And then also when we're working with overview and analysis or anything else, we can have a foundation. And so if we see a chord that we like, we can identify kind of where it came from. Right, now we're moving to A minor 7. In 10th position, and we have the first inversion of that chord. So I'm going to try to think about how the voices are moving, right? So this is going up, try to listen for those voices. I don't know if I'll do this on everyone, but okay, so that's how our voices are moving into the A minor 7, A minor 7 to the D minor 7 here. Right, so this voice moves down, this voice moves down. Okay, and then think about the context too of the root note here. Next up, we go to G7. So from D minor 7 to the G7. Now, sort of an interesting thing, right? Because if we back up to the A minor 7, voices on the third and first strings, they both move down while strings 4 and 2 remain the same. Now as we move from D minor to G7, the voices on the first and third strings are remaining the same. Strings 4, 2 are moving down. Okay, so that's an interesting phenomenon to think about. Those particular root notes, A to D to G, that circle of fifths, right? And then we look at the stepwise motion of our voicings. We get that sort of phenomenon there. Okay, and now so we had G7. Now we have E7 flat 9 or G sharp, which we're relating to G sharp diminished. So we hear that change, right? So it's a lot like it's a very interesting thing, right? Because we could say if we raise this up and looked at it in the context of G, say, oh well, that's a G flat 9. If we look at it from the perspective of E, then we can say, okay, that's an E7 flat 9. Okay, so we could do the same for B flat and C sharp. You know, just as far as relating everything. But we're thinking about E7 flat 9 because that's the secondary dominant of A minor, the 6th chord, which is a 5-1 in the relative minor. Okay, so in this case, as we found, we have 3 voices remaining the same and 1 moving upward. Okay, now we move to A minor 7, which is what we expect, right? So we're going from this to this. And we can hear that resolution there, the tension and release. All right, so in this case, we have all these notes moving up. So that's first inversion of A minor 7. And then we're going to F major 7. Just going to mention a little something extra here. Since we're trying to stay with a first inversion and third inversion type chords, we're going to move this down quite a bit here. These voices are kind of moving a pretty good distance. But I'm going to mention that if you were to take that first inversion of A minor 7, let this note fall, full step, then we get the second inversion of F major 7. So that kind of illustrates how closely related these two chords are. All right, but moving down to F major 7, first inversion, major 7 here. Okay, and then we get D minor 7, third inversion chord. We've gone from this up to this. Now, if we wanted to, we could say A minor 7 to that F major 7 we talked about in second inversion, and then D minor 7. So these are all, pretty much related. So good morning. Yeah. Thanks for joining in. So we have this. So if we had this on the D minor, that would be a D minor 9. So that's another thing. So there's a lot of relatedness going on with chords and things. Okay, now we have G7. So we went through this before a little bit. So D minor 7 to G7. So we get this nice motion here. All right, so we have E minor 7. Okay, so we're going to get a similar motion here, but going from E minor 7 to A7. Okay, so just to review. Get all that. And then we're back to D minor 7. And we're going to head up to B minor 7, flat 5. So we're in 12th position. We get that. Okay, now this is circle of fifths again. So we get a 2-5. This note is going to drop a half step, right, from where we were. So we get B minor 7 flat 5. That's first inversion. To third inversion, E7, we've replaced the root with a flat 9. Notice that the flat 5 of the B7 becomes the flat 9 of the E7. And I'll also notice that we have one of those diminished 7 type chords. Place that over E, and we have context, the E7 flat 9. And that brings us to A minor 7. So we have a 2, 5, 1, and A minor. Okay. So again, you can trace those tones there. Okay, moving into D7. Okay, that's third inversion. So the 1 becomes kind of a 2. So it has sort of a dual function there, right? So we get B minor 7 flat 5, E7 flat 9, A minor 7, and then D7. Now I'll mention there too, that's another particularly good spot to make some changes to that chord. So we have, right, third inversion, we could lower this fifth and we get the D7 sharp 11. We can even move up this 9. Place the 9 there, so we replace the root with the 9. Okay, and then we get D minor 7. So D7 to D minor 7. Let's hear how that would sound if we went from the D7 with the sharp 11 and the 9 to the D minor. Okay, so that's pretty cool. That works. What if we go to D minor 9? Okay, so then we can track some of these voices. This goes down, this comes up. Okay, and then we're back to G7. And again, there are many things we can do with this, but let's look at D minor, moving to G7. So this voice is moving down. Fourth string moving down. Okay, so we're moving from one to the next there. And then we could also, add all sorts of extensions to this, any number of different combinations. And that's kind of the fun thing, to do as we go to this C major 7. Especially those dominant 7th chords. There's a lot of different extensions that are very workable. So, and then we get to C major 7. But again, we could place a 9 on that. Put it over the C. All right. Okay, great. So that's kind of the idea. Look for those, especially those 2-5-1s, and see how that motion works, whether it's in major or minor, and also take a look at the relatedness of various chords, and then see if changing the fifth and the root of the note to experiment with different sounds on those. All right, well, that's going to conclude our talk for today. So so the practice idea here is try to move from one chord to the next, practice one change. And so the concept is to take the voices and look individually at how each string is moving from one to the next. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for checking out this talk, and See you all in the next one.